Good morning, everyone. It is your boy Jay Wheeler, aka Jay, back at it again. And the first thing I want to say is, how about them Longhorns, baby? Let's go! Oh my God. It's like those feelings that I had inside of me all season. Good, nervousness, tense, everything is finally out the window as we are closing out this year, knowing that we got us, not we, the Texas Longhorns got a shot at the national championship. Can we get a round of applause, please, please? I've been a diehard Longhorns fan for over a decade and then some. And I've watched the ups, I've watched the downs, I've watched the mediocre at best, but nothing will ever feel as good as this feeling knowing that they just not only crush their Big 12 championship game, but now they're the number 3 seed in the playoffs. And they have to avoid Alabama first. But before we get into that, I just want to say, waking up each and every day, it just got better and better. A team that was ranked number 7th in the nation. That was scary because as much as I want to say, we had a shot this, that, and the third, deep down inside, I felt like, it was probably going to be one of those years where, another team gets screwed over because it happens before. College football, there is no certainty. We've seen that before. Not just this year, the year before that. This has been going on for so long, and I want to point out that I have a paper that I wrote in a journalism class in 2007. I have the copies of it. It's about maybe 4 or 5 pages. And it was basically just, an essay on the college football and how they have, the system in which, they factor in teams and see who, gets ranked at, in their top rankings. Never thought it was a good system. I felt like it was biased. I felt like there was a lot of BS going on behind the scenes. And then as the years go on, it just seemed like it was just catering towards, people who really just doesn't do it for me anymore, I should say. But now it's like, with going into next year, for the season, we are going to have 12 teams. Me personally, I think it should be 8. But I believe it's going to be 12 teams now competing for a national championship. But this year alone was just wild because being number 7, it's like we had to wait for all this stuff to happen, whether if it was Alabama to lose or not Alabama, but just Florida State to lose, Washington to lose, Oregon to lose. There was a lot of things that had to happen. And also we had to win out, which even to me was like, oh my God, please Texas, don't do this late in the season. Don't blow it. Don't blow it. But they didn't. They held their own and they looked strong when they needed to. There was a little bit of, a gray area during the season, but also starting quarterback Quinn Ewers was hurt. But now that he's back on his feet, those last 2 games, it was like they just decimated Texas Tech. They decimated Oklahoma State, So, and that's what we needed to look strong. And I'm happy because now on New Year's Day, I get to see my team play against Washington, which I like to call the revenge tour because 2 teams, including Washington, is on that list that we need to beat. Alabama being the other team. We've beaten them this season, baby. Let's go. We beat them. But now this is where it gets tricky because here I am talking about Washington, in which I hope Texas do beat them. I really do. That feeling of beating Alabama would be the greatest feeling to me since Vince Young won that national championship for Texas against USC. I need another moment like that, especially because Texas was always a decent school, a good school, great program. But it just died after so many years, like every other school, you have to rebuild or, you have recruits, but it just sometimes things just don't work out in your favor. But yes, to get back to that top, this is the year. And not to mention, this is the last year that Texas will be in the Big 12 champion, Big 12 conference. This was their last year. And the only team that they lost to was Oklahoma. And when I said to myself, wow, because we could have lost to plenty of teams, but we lost to Oklahoma. I'm fine. I could live with that. Oklahoma was a good year, good team this year, even though they didn't go undefeated or have one loss. And still, 2 losses is great. And we need to normalize that. Like, sometimes undefeated isn't, it's the best thing to happen for your team. But if you don't, 1 loss isn't bad. And damn sure, 2 isn't like, oh my God, Everything has to be undefeated nowadays. But anyway, we beat everybody else going into our last year and winning that Big 12 champion. It just felt so good. It felt like a Super Bowl to me because it's like these guys are packing it up. They're going to the SEC next year, and that's going to be interesting. But all the years I've been watching college football, Texas has been in the Big 12 conference. Great games, some wins, some losses, wins against Baylor, loss against Baylor, win against Texas Tech, loss against Texas Tech. Loss against Iowa State. I mean, just Texas has just really given us some good games over the years, even when they weren't, undefeated or whatever. The program, the conference itself, it's a great conference. One of the best in my opinion, other than the SEC and the Big 12, Big 10. But now here we are. Revenge tour. The goal is to beat Washington, and then to beat Alabama, unless Alabama loses to Michigan, which I'm fine with that as well, because at this point, no one wants to see Alabama ever again. And it's like, dude, they got in again. This is why we hate them as a country, as fans. It's okay. I can acknowledge someone who's a good team to stand at third, but when stuff just happens to align for you all the time, when it's not your time, then that's a problem. I get it. Their argument was that, they beat Georgia, but whatever. I hope Michigan beats them. And if not, I hope Texas beat them and get their revenge on that 2008 national championship loss that I just can't get over. Sometimes I forget about it, but then when I see Alabama on that schedule for the second year in a row, I just can't help. Like, please beat this team, please. But now that we did, we need to beat them in the national championship to put the stamp on it. I would love that. Now that I got that out the way, I'm like, woo! I just wanted to just talk about that real quick. We have some stuff that we have to jump into. Now, so many things are going on out there and in the industry of film. And there are things I want to cover. But there are also some things that I'm looking at and I'm just like, you know what? We might have to put this one on hold. Because there's 1 month left. And I want to let you guys know that I started a Christmas list. But this ain't your normal Christmas list. This ain't no Home Alone. We got more horror films in the month of December. Yes. So what I decided to do this year was make a list, just 10 movies, just 10, by 9 to 10, of Christmas movies that are scary. I want everyone to know that I'm a horror fanatic. I love horror films. It's what I like to watch in my spare time. It's my go-to. And me putting together the list, it was great because it was something new. Everyone has seen Home Alone. Everyone's seen A Christmas Story, whatever. I haven't had the pleasure of seeing half those movies, except Home Alone, but a bunch of Christmas movies because this is just not my season. I'm an October baby, and October's my month. When it comes to Christmas, I didn't mind it, but it just got to the point where everyone just kept trying to advertise it and promote it at the tail end of October, which is like really disrespectful when you think about it. And then you have it being, advertised again a little bit before Thanksgiving. And I just said, who in the hell is just thinking it's okay to just skip past holidays? Because then you just make people not want to look forward to Christmas. And I feel like over the years, before COVID and all this stuff, the holidays were just always weird because I feel like more people are starting to just realize the cost of living is going up. Presence really isn't on their mind, but they want to get into the spirit. But with just everything around, everyone, and that's everything that's going on, it's hard to just not picture yourself just trying to work hard and just maintain your apartment that you live in, potentially sharing with somebody. Because again, no one's living on their own in today's world. Everyone has, a roommate or they're doing something. But yeah, so even I'm just like, I got my own stuff to deal with, I don't think anybody's getting a gift this year. Maybe one or two, and that's about it. But I just feel like I just got bigger and more important things on my mind. And when you guys are just sitting here trying to advertise Christmas when it's in October, November, you're like, you kind of making me feel some type of way, Let Christmas come when Christmas gets here, not earlier, I want to enjoy the holidays. That's what you call them, like holidays. So, and because we do this thing now where, the whole Mariah Carey thing, blah, 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 it's just another thing to add to the list of like, dude, like, I just want to get out this season already, Her being played was never an issue until, it started to become a thing on the internet, Every time I turn around, I see a meme, see a video, see this and that and the third. It's like, now I want some new Christmas music. Like someone please drop an album and play it consistently because we need something different, something new. But anyway, happy holidays. So, but yes, some of the movies that I put on there too was really interesting because there was like a little bit of like 90s, 2000s, early 2000s, late 2000s, or, a little bit, after the 10s, you should say, 2010. But yeah, I'm excited. I've already got to watch Black Xmas, I believe it's called. The original was Black Christmas. This one's Black Xmas. And that was a little bit interesting because I've seen it before, but it's been so long. And watching it, I was like, oh my God. The kills in there, it was gruesome. It was dirty. It was bloody. It was, ugh. And I said, man, that's what I'm talking about. If I'm going to do Christmas, this is going to be my Christmas. Bloods, gore, all that stuff. I threw some Gremlins on there, Gremlins 1 and 2, and an Apocalypse, Jack Frost. I was like, I got a list, and again, I love horror movies. So no matter if it's Christmas, October, hell, I might even watch my Bloody Valentine for Valentine's Day. Like if there's a scary movie that's for a holiday, I'm watching it, okay? That's just me. That's what I'm going to do. So apologize if you're not really into that stuff, but yeah. Now, another thing I want to just touch on real quick is wrestling. I know I like talking about that, but I just can't help but say, wow, we're in a good time right now with wrestling. Because everything is about to change. After Survivor Series, CM Punk coming out on Raw, cutting a good promo, I actually feel like I have something to look forward to. Now, I might not catch all the, the weekly shows is because certain reasons, but being able to just see wrestling take off and get the hype that it needs again, it feels great because there was a point where it wasn't all sunshines. It was just like, cloudy with a chance of meatballs. But now we got Randy back. Cody's looking great. Seth's looking great. CM Punk's back. Jimmy's trying to, still position himself as an entertainer and a wrestler. Someone who's good at the job, too, and perform well. Roman. This is just Roman. I can't even... Roman is just Roman. But you know what? I want to say this now. I want to go on record. I think the better fit is Randy versus Roman at Mania and Seth versus CM Punk. There's so much story behind both those matches. And honestly, if you flip-flop them, I feel like with CM Punk, that's fine. But with Randy, I've already seen that story told. And yes, it'll be for a belt, but honestly, I feel like Randy doesn't need that belt. What he needs is to dethrone Roman You know, he needs to dethrone him and get that respect back. And also, if he does beat Roman, he'll become the 15-time champion, which again, it's great. It's awesome. I would love that. I just don't want him to do that to get the belt from Seth. Like, no, he needs to beat Roman. But my prediction is CM Punk wins the Rumble and challenges Seth. Randy doesn't need to be a 3-time Royal Rumble winner. However, he will join Stone Cold for the only person who's ever won the Royal Rumble 3 times. Fun fact. But either way, that's what I'm trying to paint. That's my picture for WrestleMania. Randy versus Roman, and then CM Punk versus Seth. And that's going to be a good one. And honestly, I wouldn't be mad if they wanted to throw some mixes in there. You know, maybe a Cody Rhodes, you know, with Roman and Randy. Because in that way, you know, it'll ensure that somebody's walking out with that belt, and it ain't Roman. And Roman doesn't have the firepower that he did before. So at some point, we're looking at who's going to dethrone Roman. But I definitely think CM Punk and Seth should be separate. Those guys can just hit a roof off. And honestly, I'm really looking forward to that match because CM Punk is fresh. Seth is on a roll. And where they're at right now, it's just like, oh my God. I think CM Punk still has some juice left in the tank. When he came out, he looked good. He put on some weight. You know, he was always a skinny fat guy, as Triple H called him. But he's a guy now with some weight on him. He got his weight up. Oh, man. But I'll leave you with this, though. I'm going to be doing my yearly top 10 movie list. Now, I'm excited because this year was so weird. So weird because I saw some movies that were really great. And I saw some movies that I'm trying to think about revisiting. And I just feel like others just kind of came and went, you know? Last year, I think, might have been better. This year was still good, but I don't know. And I feel like this year was so weird because we had a strike going on, so things got delayed. So things that I was looking forward to was no longer there. And then when I'm watching movies, I just felt like something is missing. Whether if it was passion, love, lack of writing, lack of material, everything, you know. Some movies just really was able to just capture what I wanted to see or do its purpose, do its job. And then some other movies, I'm just trying so hard because this year was like, this was supposed to be like that, another good year of film. You know, we're supposed to be moving forward. But this year, it kind of was like, it looked good. And by the time I got to summer, it was just like, what are we doing? And I just felt so like, just not interested. And I can't even tell you how many movies I saw this year, man. I used to be so excited to tally up how many movies I saw at AMC, which ones were better than others, respectfully. But I'm like, damn, man, like, this hurts me to say, but I don't even think I saw over 20 movies this year at AMC. Can't tell you, honestly. I feel like it was probably 10. And out of all those 10, I probably might have saw 6 that was good and 4 that was okay. Yo, let that sink in. I probably saw 6 movies that was good and 4 that were okay. Maybe 2 of them were bad and 2 were okay. But don't quote me on that. I'm gonna have to, hold on. Where's my phone at? I'm gonna check this right now because this is gonna bother the hell out of me. Let me check. All right. So as of this year, my tickets, right? Let's just go with the past year. Okay. Y'all ready for this? This year I saw, Jesus Christ, Knock at the Cabin, Winnie the Pooh, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Cocaine Bear, Creed 3, Scream 6, John Wick 4, Dungeons and Dragons, the Super Mario Bro movie, Air, Rainfield, Evil Dead Rise, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Fast X, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, The Boogeyman, The Flash, No Hard Feelings, Asteroid City, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Oppenheimer, Barbie, Talk to Me, The Last Voyage of the Detamir, Gran Turismo, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Equalizer, A Haunting in Venice, The Nun, It Lives Inside, Saw X, The Exorcist the Believer, Killers of the Flower Moon, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes, Thanksgiving, and Godzilla -1. Wow, that was actually a lot more than I thought it would be. I'm just saying, that was a lot more. Wow, okay. I actually feel good. That surprised me. So now I have to go in and pick what movies are going to make my top 10 list. That was really good. Wow. And I don't think I think there might have been like one or two, on like an Apple, or not Apple, like an Amazon Prime or something. But I'm not going to count those. Those are like, even though Killers of the Flower Moon, but I saw that in theater, so that gets the theater treatment. But yeah, so I'm going to get working on that because I cannot wait to let you guys know what's my top 10. And lastly, I just want to say, Chucky is finally on DVD. Yes, Dead by Daylight, one of my favorite games of all time. It is my third. It slipped in there, my top 3 favorite games of all time. Dead by Daylight, Chucky. Now, I have a thing for Survivor, right? But also can get down with playing as a friendly killer, letting people get their points. I get my points. It's a win-win. We all go home happy. For my birthday, I went to Spencer's and I got a good guy doll, which was spontaneous as hell, but it kind of made sense because fast forward, we got a trailer of a new killer and it was Chucky. And honestly, I felt like at the time, I just did it to flex, but also wanted to make me feel good. To add to my collectibles, I have a nice little desk set up, and I just said, Chucky being there wouldn't hurt. Not to mention, any 90s kid that grew up watching horror films, you watch Chucky, the curiosity of a good guy doll, was always there. I never had that luxury as a kid growing up, I wasn't rich. And even something like this wasn't like $10, I think I spent about $80 on this good guy doll, but it was my birthday, so I decided to treat myself. But now here we are in a video game in which, you play as franchise iconic slashers. Chucky being added to that was like the cherry on top. We still haven't gotten to Jason. He got his own game. But Chucky being in it to me was like the greatest thing ever. Like, I've played with different killers, but Chucky has personality. I can't tell you not one single game in which was dull and boring. It might have took a little bit to warm up, but for the most part, it's like when I'm being a friendly, cool. But I turned on the switch and actually decided to just go after survivors for real, though. And the things he does, the perks he has, and the amount of fun I have playing as Chucky gets a 10 out of 10 as far as killers. Now, if they nerfed him in the future, whatever, because it happens to all of them, but just for this time being, I'm having a blast with Chucky, and I hope they don't, To me, I felt like, for once, I finally found someone I can probably be, play as a killer, and have fun with it, Work around it. I'm a survivor by nature. That's actually a real life thing. No, but I'm a survivor. I mean, that's my first choice. But it's like even I learned to work around them and how to get past them. I think people have skill issues, and because of the majority of skill issues, the other half of the community gets penalized when it's like, whatever happens, if you're good at the game, you work hard, you get better. It took me a year to get better in DBD. And I took like maybe like 2.5 months off of playing, but just by watching videos and then just putting everything into context, I learned how to get better. And once Chucky got here, it was like, dude, I was already better at looping than I was a year ago. So facing him, even though he's small and he has all these perks, I can still try to use my skills to get to where I need to go, which is to the gate and get the hell out. But I can't say the same for everybody. But if you ever have the time, play Dead by Daylight. It's a great online game. It goes up to 4 people, 4 survivors, 1 killer. It's a killer from, it can be Jason, Michael, Freddy, Leatherface, the Demogorgon, Hellraiser, just to name a few. And yes, it's a really fun game. You guys have to do a series of completions on what they call generators, and then there's one final gate that you have to open to get out. And go check it out. It's on Xbox, it's on PC, it's on PlayStation. You'll have a good time, and you and your friends can do something on Fridays and Saturday nights. And on December 14th, they'll be dropping a new update in which the whole maps now will be covered in snow because it is the holidays and we gotta have the snowmans again, which I loved. But yes, I wanted to send you on that note. And until next time, hope everyone has a great and wonderful Willow Wednesday. Tune in next time.